Hello friends, it's Tammy. Welcome. Today we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to bring you along as I work on this commissioned beach scene, and I am working on a 16-inch round canvas, and I am going to be using the Layeredresinwaves white sand pigment, and this is also Starburst pigment. I'll just be mixing the two of those together. I'll be using blue sapphire, which is a powder pigment. This is emerald teal, and it's gorgeous. Aqua ocean. And I'll be using angel white. Okay, in addition, I purchased this sand from my local hobby store. And I'm going to be using Total Boat's resin today. Please make sure that you follow manufacturer's recommendations and even go above and beyond, friends. Go ahead and protect yourself. Use your PPE. You want your nitrile gloves and your respirator mask, which includes a pair of VOC filters. I used a total of 6 ounces of resin for this first layer that I'll be putting down. And I'm going to pour approximately 6 ounces of resin. I'm using the Total Boat, if I have not mentioned that yet. Total Boat is a pretty thick viscosity resin, and it works really well for projects such as this, and I just love the finish that I get from Total Boat. It's just a beautiful finish. Now, I found in the end that this just didn't work as I had anticipated it would. I believe that the white sand pigment was just a little bit too opaque for the starlight or the sunlight sparkle pigment. So I wouldn't recommend mixing them together. So here I'm going ahead and mixing in my blue sapphire from Res, that is the pigment powder. And all the pigments that I'm using here today came from Laura's Art Corner. She is the Res distributor for the United States. Total Boat generally gives you around a 30-35 minute work time. And so once you get that resin prepared, you want to work pretty much in a hurry. But you do want to make sure that these pigments are very well incorporated into your resin mixture. And you may be thinking now that I have not mixed near enough resin to cover this 16-inch canvas, but I'll show you how I'm making this work. You can also see that this resin's thick viscosity is allowing it to sit on the board while I prepare my next color. It's not going to move until I'm ready for it to move. So for applications such as this, I love using the Total Boat resin. I'm not an affiliate with any of these vendors that I'm speaking to you, or for the products that I am speaking to you of. These are just products that I absolutely love using and want to share with you. All right, I'm just going to take my heat gun and pop any bubbles that I already see and warm my resin up just a little bit. Makes it a little bit easier to move around, making sure that I have good coverage. Now I'm just taking my hand and I'm just making sure that the board has coverage with the resin at this point, and then I'll go back and begin blending some of the colors. I'm just going to go in and use up any pigment that I have remaining. The aqua ocean pigment that I use that's closest to the beachy area, I did not make that an opaque blend. You can certainly do that with the pigment. I just did not make it as opaque as the sapphire blue and the emerald teal pigments. But you can see here that I'm starting to blend out those pigments, and it did not matter. I wanted somewhat of a sheerness, and in the end, as you will see, you'll be able to appreciate having that little bit of a sheer area there once I get the waves on. And I'm ready to mix my angel white with my remaining resin. Now you really do not need very much of this at all. It takes very little resin to make enough of the white. And by now my resin has thickened up considerably, and you can see that the white just sits right there until I'm ready to move it. Okay, so I'm just going to take my heat gun, and I'm really going to try and warm my resin up, moving anything out of the way. Once you warm your resin up, it thins. It can run over the edge of your surface, and you can see that it's beginning to move those pigments in the direction I want it to go. Once that heat hits it enough and it warms up, it will soften that white line considerably. So I'm just going to go back in and work on trying to create those turbulent waves. And what I'm looking for are cells and lacing. And I'm just going to go right back and fill in anywhere that I feel like I need more white. Now there's a fine balance between heating up and moving this pigment and adding too much heat and burning your resin. And so be very, very careful. Adding too much heat can also cause like a fisheye area or a large area where you have no resin. And so you just need to be mindful of that. And I just took my butane kitchen torch and went over my pour to make sure that any remaining bubbles have been taken care of. Now I will follow this every 15 minutes to make sure that no new bubbles have risen to the top. And I'll check this for about an hour, and then it will set overnight to cure. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and add some of my elements to the sand area, to the beach area. Some small shells, some starfish, some little bit of larger shells. A few beads, some sea glass, crushed sea glass, driftwood, lots of things that definitely make you appreciate that this is a beachy scene. Now you can certainly wait till your next layer to put a clear coat down on these, but too much resin is going to risk covering these stones completely up, and I want it to leave the texture. And so I chose to go ahead and put mine down now. Plus, if something wasn't captured by this layer of resin and didn't stick, and I really wanted it up there, I'll have the option to fix that on my next layer if I need to. That's just my theory and why I do how I did this. I'm so glad that you joined me today, and I hope that you're enjoying watching this process. I would love for you to join and subscribe my channel. I try to post once weekly, sometimes twice weekly, and I am a multimedia artist. I deal with glass and resin and acrylic paints, watercolor, inks. I deal with a multitude of different mediums, and I enjoy sharing some of all of it. Here on my YouTube channel, I do a lot of the resin work, but occasionally I still like to do some of the other things too. So I'd love it if you would subscribe if something like this or any of the other things that I do interest you. So here's a little very poor close-up of where we're at right now. And here I am the next day. I have let that cure overnight. You can see I decided that after the cameras were off to add the driftwood. So I have decided that I want to make multiple layers of waves. I love these. I love how they've turned out. but we're going to go again with another set of waves. You can also follow me on Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, where I also do lives every Thursday, TikTok. The link is in my bio to join any of those. And but for right now, I'm just glad that you're here with me today. All right, so I had a couple of little pieces, very small pieces, that I wanted to make sure that I secured down well.